The Fate of Heroes, starring Patrick, Devin, Rob, Tamara, and John as the Game Master.
And welcome back to Fate of Heroes. And let's meet our players this week, starting with Webby.
Hey guys, I'm Webby and I play Lincoln Palmer.
And Devin.
Hey, I'm Devin and I play Caleb James Lynn, also known as CJ and Saif.
I was going to say, does anybody even know your actual CJ stands for? But yeah. Rob probably does because he never forgets, right, Rob?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Except that one time that he forgot.
No.
And that other time. And the time after that.
Yeah.
All right.
Every once in a while, there's names where I'm like, I don't remember who that was. I remember them, but I don't remember their name. Is what.
John. So, Equus is now your barometer of interesting characters. If he forgets, you probably just need to revamp the character. He probably doesn't care anymore.
All right. Well, then I'll know that for the next time we play a game where I am a PC. All right. So, Rob.
Hey, everybody. I play Alex, who eventually will be Grampy Raspy at some point.
Maybe. Potential future Grampy Raspy, apparently. All right. Tamara.
Hi, I'm Tamara. And mammals and dinosaurs do not live at the same time.
They do an arc.
Yeah, they do an arc, actually. Da, da, da.
What is arc? Tune in next season to find out as we go prehistoric. And then I immediately kill myself.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I would not hear the end of it if that happened. Okay. So, for those of you who may not know, she also plays Leelui. And Jacob. All right. So, last time, we had a very different episode, but 3 episodes ago, you guys, I guess it's like 4 episodes now. My goodness. You guys were in medieval France. In the case of Leelui, she was in medieval England and had ended up in a circumstance where Lincoln had to go fetch her. There was Black Plague going on and all sorts of fun stuff. And you guys escaped that whole thing and eventually landed on the shore of what appears to be South Wales. And a man by the name of Henry has landed on the shoreline with a bunch of troops coming off of larger sailing ships into this bay. And the group of individuals as they land, there's probably about 1,000 troops that are coming to the shoreline from various ships. You can hear them as far as you're concerned. They all sound like they're speaking English. But you sort of realize that they don't all recognize what each other's saying. Because at points they have to turn to various translators and such. But as the main party gets to the shoreline and walks up to you, a man who looks like he's in his late 20s marches up. And so, I don't usually ask this question, but who's in front at this stage?
Everybody roll a dice.
Sure, I will.
Why not? Roll a dice. I was going to say make it random, but okay.
No, it's fine. No one else wanted to volunteer.
We can make it random. It's fine.
No, I'm already up front.
All right. So, this gentleman walks up to you, and he's, as he does, he looks you up and down and looks at the others and says, "Greetings, strangers. Are you the troops we were expecting? Is there more?"
I hold my arms out. There doesn't need to be any more. You got us.
We are the gift.
He looks at you and goes, interesting. I don't think Richard's going to have 4 or 5 people arrayed against us, but I thank you for your gift. If you're willing to volunteer, that would be amazing. And he nods to a colleague who's hit the shoreline, and he says, Roger, can you track down Reese and see what is holding him up? And the gentleman takes his sword and sort of slaps it towards his chest in a salute and says, certainly, my lord, I will do that immediately. And he walks away.
Roger. What's your vector, Victor?
I slap him.
stare at the guy who's talking to me.
I slap him right in the back of the head.
He then looks at you strangely and says, what? I mean, you speak fluent Welsh. What brings you here? Where are you from?
A little bit everywhere. And every when.
We're
Time travel.
So we're
Anyway.
travelers, yes.
I thumb over to Alex.
Yeah. So what exactly are we volunteering for here?
I see. Well, this is, I mean, you may or may not know me. My name is Henry Tudor. My forces here are leading a rebellion or a recompense against the current king who has stolen the crown from his nephews and appears to have tried to marry my betrothed off to one of his cadre.
Oy.
Well, he sounds like a terrible person. Give us 1 second here. Huddle up, everybody.
Alex, you know what really would have helped with this whole situation?
What?
If I had just listened to more the Welsh History podcast.
Stop that.
I haven't heard.
Well, we're from the current time. I'm allowed to,
We could reference that. Yeah,
we can reference it.
I mean,
well, I can tell you it wouldn't have helped you, but okay.
The first 10 or 15 episodes are really good. I mean, couple of pronunciation
after that.
Couple of pronunciation issues.
Don't you dare! Don't you dare!
Lincoln.
Other than that, it was a good show. I mean, I think he jumped a shark somewhere in like 22.
Anyway, so is everybody huddled together?
Yeah.
I mean, does anybody know what is the Tudor supposed to win this? What, I don't know.
No, I didn't watch
Why
that show on
have Tudors when
Netflix.
you only need one?
Leelui brings up a very interesting point.
Oh, does she though?
I don't know. That guy's wearing really weird clothing.
Yeah, it's
they want
definitely
us
poofier.
mercenaries. Let's just fight, do our thing, and then hopefully our next jump will be our final jump home.
Well, I mean, we have normally appeared next to those that needed our help, so I guess we'll help these guys.
No one needs our help.
Well, that's true. But I have a feeling if we try to stay out of it, we're going to get dragged in anyway.
We've at least advanced in time, right?
Yes.
Oh, good. All right. Well, I mean, let's do what we got to do.
So we break the huddle, and I turn back to him. Well, I guess we're your men and women.
Right. Okay. Certainly. If you would like to...
Are they going to have more men than you guys have here?
If I'm to guess from the spies that we have, yes.
Good. Then it'll be more of a fair fight.
He smiles and says, always. Thankfully, they haven't picked up the arquebus here yet, so we're at least safer from that. although
I
their
look at
accuracy is pretty pathetic.
You look at him and he shrugs, and he looks back at the guy and says, "Arquebus."
The flintlock weapons.
Why didn't you just say that?
Well, because they've advanced beyond that.
Right.
Their cannons, though, thankfully can't move terribly quickly, so that should be to our advantage. He looks back at one of his other people who are coming to the beach and says, Sir Roderick here will take you to the tent if you'd like to freshen up. You look like you've had a bit of a rough go of it as of late.
We could probably use a rest, yes. And I'm going to slap Lincoln on the back and say, "Gunpowder is spread to the west. We're getting closer."
Thank you.
Why does nobody ever question us appearing out of nowheres?
Well, they have. Kind of.
I seem to remember you almost getting stoned over that, actually, at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Egyptians
This particular person, I mean, yeah, we kind of just literally popped up out of nowhere. Anyway, let's just not question that.
Us. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
Roderick, was it? Lead the way.
this young man comes up. He looks like a squire, and he is probably about 15, maybe 16, and he looks at you all and says, "Come with me, please." And
Man, you're Roderick?
yes, sir.
I'm
He's
going to
have
call
an
you.
ancestor named John.
I'm going to call you. Oh, God, yes, he is. Deliver
He
this
doesn't know
mail
who
for
John
me.
is. Deliver this mail. You have a letter, sir?
Will. Interesting. No, I probably shouldn't. Anyway, Roddy, lead the way.
He nods at you and says, "Come with me, sir. We're setting up the tents over here, please. If you and your colleagues will follow me."
As we're walking, I'm gonna raise an eyebrow, Lincoln, and say, "Were you gonna try to pull a Back to the Future there?"
I mean, I was thinking about it, but that would probably get me in trouble in the future with the whole time cop thing, right?
Nah, that's me.
But
You said Zoe was trying to arrest you when you left, didn't you?
yeah, I think. But even if she wasn't, if I meddled with time, wouldn't they come after me too?
Maybe.
I guess it depends on what was in the letter or who saw it.
Okay. Lincoln's just a slightest little trickle of blood comes from Lincoln's nose.
Nice. While you're doing that, he marches you guys towards an open field. You can see massive tents going up everywhere, and he escorts you to one relatively close by and says, "If you'd like to rest here from the sun, we'll be having a meal in probably closer to midday, if you would like some."
Good. I'm going to need some clean clothes, too.
Certainly. We can find something for you all, if you would like.
That's good, because I look probably like I'm still from, Egypt or whatever. I don't remember the last time I actually changed clothes. I had a toga on at one point. I remember that.
Yes, you definitely went Roman. You went very Roman the last time. I think we actually switched you guys out because you were looking pretty toga-y. And you were in France and it was winter time.
No, you can't have a penis hat. Penelope.
Penis loaf.
No, not that.
So yes, close, please.
He nods at you all. He says, "We're expecting the Scots soon. And hopefully we'll be hearing from some of the others. Until then, take care."
Wait, you're expecting the Scots as allies?
Yes, we have
All right.
some...
Just wondering.
Okay, fair enough.
Can I get a kilt?
No, sir. What's a kilt, sir?
Wrong time period.
All right. Hey, I don't know these things, Leelui.
Why does Leelui know again?
Who knows? How does she know anything?
Can I get a
True,
sword?
Fair enough.
Here, Roddy. Can I get a sword? We're mercenaries.
Certainly
We're
we
going to
have.
need weapons.
I'm sort of surprised you don't have any already.
I am a weapon, but, just saying.
He smiles at you and says, "But certainly we can track something down for you, sir. We definitely have pikes if you want those."
Yeah, sure. I'll take one of
Why
those.
would we want to fight with fish?
Oh boy.
Roderick looks at you confused and says, "Certainly I will acquire those at the very least, but I'll try and get you some swords shortly."
Do you have a staff?
Certainly, sir.
I shall
A
take that.
A thought bubble comes above Lincoln's head, and he is now just daydreaming of speed slapping Leelui with a fish, and he just giggles to himself.
Can we get some food to Roderick, please?
Certainly. I will definitely get something brought over to you soon.
Hey guys,
And-
where's Bob?
With that, he nods and walks out. Bob is still
we have
in
Bob.
Lincoln's hands.
Yeah, we have Bob. I made
That
sure
is-
of that.
Yes, he made sure.
I hug Bob closer when Leelui asks.
Bob goes, "Mop."
Oh,
The only
there's Bob.
time
Yes,
you didn't
Bob.
make sure is when you were all drunk, and then I made sure.
So you guys are given some heavy meat dish, salted pork and things of that nature, and some ale. And
Roddy, where are the vegetables, man?
he says, "We're sure to have some as we go, sir. But this is what we had with us on the boats.
What do the horses eat?
They will be eating hay, but obviously
Get
you
me some
can't-
of that.
you
I
want
kind of point
hay.
at. I point at Bob.
Oh, sorry, sir. I did not notice your sheep." And he walks out.
I'll be talking to your commander.
Mm-mm. I'm sure Lord Percy cares very highly about that.
No
And walks
mercy,
out.
Percy. Mm.
You hear, as you're eating the food, the heavy meat dishes,
I let everybody else parcel out their food, and then I speed eat the rest. Gotta keep my metabolism up.
nice little reference for y'all. Going back to the first season. All right, so as you are consuming your food, you hear a commotion come from what sounds like the center area, and you hear a lot of running around and movement from the camp.
I'm sure it's nothing, guys. It's probably just routine. I just continue eating, petting Bob, kicking back, relaxing.
I will go take a look if no one else is gonna.
Well, no one else suggested that they were going to, so
Yes, because I'm taking care of something.
fair enough.
Game related, but I am taking care of something.
Okay. So, as you lift the tent flap and walk outside, you can see a number of troops arming up and seemingly getting into formation. And you see Roderick running back towards you, Alex.
Okay.
He has with him a bundle.
I'll go out to meet him. I'll jog out to meet him. What's going on?
Reese is coming. Lord Reese.
And he is.
Well, he's in charge of the local area. The king put him in charge a number of, weeks ago. And we're not exactly sure his intentions quite yet.
Alrighty. Well, I guess we should of like come with you, just in case things turn bad.
Certainly, that would be most appreciated. Here, I've got you weapons. And he says, shall we go into the tent?
Alrighty. And I'll lead the way.
Okay, he walks into the tent and he puts down a bundle of a couple different things. He pulls out a staff and hands it to CJ and says, this is what you've asked for. There is a couple of pikes and a couple of beat up swords. And he says, these are all that we could scrounge up for you. They're not the best, but they'll do in a pinch.
Ooh, sharp pokey.
Oh, is your cleaner going to help you?
Or what?
Sharp pokey.
Well,
Roddy. She will skewer you like a fish.
Oh, you are very progressive, I see.
She is a fearsome warrioress.
Warrioress.
If anything strange happens on the battlefield, it's probably her.
I see. Okay, I'm not sure how his lordship will view this, but yeah, just pikes are always good. And he says, I need to go help my lord. So with that, meet us in about the next 10 minutes out at the main camping location.
We've gotten our new clothes and everything, John?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to grab...
You've probably had like about 2 hours before this occurred.
All right.
Leelui was given a dress, which is rather bulky. You guys have got sort of poofier looking outfits, if I call them that, like sort of like the shoulders are sort of puffed up a bit. But you have regular pants and things, but what they gave Leelui was definitely more feminine.
Leelui looks at what they're wearing, draws herself something similar to what they're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Similar, but colorful.
Are the poofy parts of our shirts like up on the upper parts of the arms?
Yeah, like on I don't know if you've seen a lot of sort of...
Yeah.
This isn't quite Renaissance period, but it's kind of that... It's leaning that way. So.
I'm going to cut the sleeves off my shirt.
Okay. It is pretty hot out, by the way, even though it's like Britain. There's no rain. It's actually quite humid and warm.
Oh, good. So cutting the sleeves off might help.
It might, yeah. And there's also in that stuff, there's bits and pieces of armor. There's like a couple of chainmail shirts, chest plate, that kind of thing.
See, I thought about that, but it might slow me down.
There's some small shields and that kind of stuff. So you sort of have a whole bunch of different options.
Okay, I will grab a pike and a small shield. Yeah, let's do this.
Yeah. All right. So the pike is probably about 10 foot long, so it can be a little unwieldy.
Okay, never mind the shield. I'll just grab the pike.
Okay. And as you guys assemble out, you will find yourself surrounded by what looks to be, I'd say, about 700 people. 700 men, let's be clear. Most of whom are armored in various forms and fashions, but you can see that the more peasant-looking people have a lot less in the way of armor. In some cases, no armor, but they have those pikes. And then you see guys that are fully kitted out in full plate mail that are sitting on massive horses and riding around and looking to try and get into position. When
real quick, are any of our group taking the armor pieces that were given to us, like the scattering chainmail and stuff like that?
No, I would probably take one of the shields. That's it.
I'm good.
Whatever we don't use for the armor parts, I'm going to hand out to like those peasant guys who don't have anything.
Okay. You'll see some of them put on the chainmail shirts. A lot of them don't bother with the armor, though.
Well, it's something's better than nothing, guys.
They smile at you and say, "Let him come." And
My man, what's your name?
my name is Pierre.
Not a fan, but I like your guts, your gusto. Keep it up.
He smiles.
Give like a good war shout.
He looks at you and smiles and says, "I've been in many wars, monsieur. Don't worry, we'll be able to handle these English dogs."
All right, calm down. I'm gonna need you to dial it back a notch.
He kind of laughs. Yeah,
Okay.
they're still pretty amped up at this point. You hear what sounds like a lot of jingling and pat, pat, pat of horse hooves on the ground. And you can see coming out of the woods, probably about, I'd say about 100 feet away, is basically a parade of troops. They're all decked out in armor. There's actually very few peasants or pikemen there. But there are some of the armored men are actually walking and not on horses. And they have slightly different outfits than the others. And at the center is a man who's decked out in shiny gold-colored armor. And he pulls up and looks at Henry, who is standing on the other end of the field. And beside him, on his shield, he has emblazoned 3 ravens. And his flag has those same 3 ravens on a chevron. And he rides up to Henry and says,
My lord, you have come to Wales. Why are you here?
Henry looks at him and says, "I am here to take the crown, as you well know, Rhys ap Thomas." And Rhys gets down from his horse. He then bows to him and goes to one knee and says,
I offer my services, my lord.
and Henry looks at him and says, "I will take your services, but first we have to discuss your payment for your commitment to Richard." And Rhys looks up to him and smiles and says,
No problem. I've figured out an option there.
and he says,
Bring the bishop!
and you see this clergyman dressed in brown robes with some gold fringing on some of his inner robes. And he comes forward and gets off of his smaller horse.
I cheer.
There's a general cheer that goes up as well when you do that.
Oh, I feel okay.
And he steps forward and looks at the assembled, and he says, "I am the Bishop of St. David, and my ruling, as given by God, is that for you to feel your commitment fulfilled, sir, you will have to allow Henry Tudor to pass over you. For you said you would stay and you would not run." And so the Rhys smiles at that and says, "Certainly, sir." And he walks over to a culvert, and there's a small bridge that goes over top of it. And he says, "If you will, my lord." And Henry smiles and gets on his horse and says, "Certainly." And he stands in the culvert as Henry rides over. And once Henry is took his horse over top of the culvert, he looks back at the bishop and says, "Does that fulfill the command?" And the bishop smiles and says, "It does, my lord." And everyone cheers on both sides. And
I'm
there's
looking
just
around confused.
craziness going on. Mm-hmm.
I nudge Alex. Yo,
What?
so all God wanted that dude to do was to get in a ditch and let the other guy walk a horse across the bridge?
No, I'm pretty...
The use of pun to break commitment.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of funny.
What Leelui said. He was committed to staying here until this guy basically rode over him, as in, his forces. But I mean, this is technically the same thing. The words fit, and now his obligation's over.
Okay.
And Henry rides back to the center and says, "Rhys ap Thomas." And Rhys comes forward. "Kneel before me, sir." And he kneels, and he takes his sword and taps him on both shoulders and says, "I call you into my service as I fight for the kingdom, and to unite all Britain once more." And he looks up and says, "My lord, wherever you go, we will go. And I commit to you 500 worthy men." And he smiles and says, "Very good. Let it be known that no longer will this man just simply be a representative of South Wales. He will be the representative for all of Wales under my command. And I call on all of my kin to join us." And he smacks Rhys on the shoulder and says, "Meet me in a few weeks at Bosworth." And he says, "Certainly, my lord." And he looks at his troops and says, "Everyone ready up, we're going." And they then march back out of the camp. And everybody else is smiling and happy and celebrating. And
Leelui tilts her head, scribbles something, sticks a fish on the end of the pike and grins. That's it.
Yeah, I figured. So after that's all done, the group reassembles, the marching orders reestablished, and Henry tells Roderick to some detail, and you see him come over to you, and he says,
Henry or Roderick?
Roderick.
All
And he
right.
says, "My lord and lady, the king would like you to join him, if you would."
Why?
I just thumb over to Leelui. Thoughts exactly.
"He looks upon you as a good luck piece."
He doesn't know us. He
Leelui
doesn't
sort of
know us very
squints.
well.
Well, there was fears that we would have a war today, so we are celebrating, and he feels it was fortuitous to find individuals such as yourselves.
So there's not going to be a
Does
war.
he want a fish? And she pokes the end of the pike at him.
He looks at the fish and kind of squints at you and says, "Very good, my lady. Good catch." And he says, "Oh no, there's going to be a war. There's a big war coming. But this was key to making the first steps, my lord."
Yeah, okay. Sure, Roddy.
Now we march north.
Okay.
And they look at you, and he looks to see if there's anything else you guys need. And then says, "When you're ready, if you can meet back with the king."
Sure,
I'm
which
he would
tent is he
appreciate
in?
it. He is in the large tent at the center.
I just start walking that way.
Okay. As you all start walking that way, you can see that there's a lot of sort of all the various troops are very cheerful and quite pleased with themselves. There are a couple of guards at the tent of Henry who then look to be dressed slightly differently than the rest. They have halberts, which and they have like cloaks, which have a dragon motif to it, and they say, "The Majesty will see you inside. Please put your weapons out here."
I just drop my pike on the ground.
They one of them reaches down, grabs it, and sets it by the tent. They said, "You can have it back when you go back."
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's yours anyway. Whatever.
He smiles.
Leelui tilts her head sideways again, scribbles a bit, turns the fish into a gummy fish, takes it off the end of the pike, and then stabs the pike into the ground.
There's a little bit of squinting at that particular issue, and one of them turns to the other and goes, "Witch?" And the other one says,
No, she's not a witch. She rolls around in manure, and sometimes the fumes makes people see weird things. Like, just being around her for too long, you might start seeing some stuff.
She sticks the gummy fish in the face of the guy that spoke.
Yep. Like that. I just walk in the tent. I can't help this situation anymore.
He squints further at you and says, "Woman, if you are going to continue to harass me with whatever that is, I will have you put in irons."
That's not any fun. Jacob says you're cute. She turns around and walks into the tent.
Mm-hmm. And the rest of you?
Were we all invited in the tent as well, or no?
Yep.
Then I would go in the tent.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at the guards and just like sadly shake my head and then just walk past them.
Okay. As you enter into the tent, you'll see that at the center of it is a large seat. There is very ornate carpets that have been set up on the ground, and there are various things hung up all over the place. There's a great table, and there are guards at each corner of the tent. And Henry is sitting talking to the bishop when he sees you come in. He stands up and says, hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. I hope that the food was good.
Fish.
It was delicious, thank you.
And we are preparing to move to Aberystwyth. It's about a 3-day march north. If you are prepared to join us, we will head out probably in the morning. You are more than welcome to stay, even if you don't come with us, but if you want to accompany us, you are more than welcome.
I'm gonna kind of look around at the others.
Lincoln pinches the bridge of his nose, and Alex can see him mouthing a 3-day walk. Ugh.
You'll be okay.
I could make us flying horses.
No, guy, just cover Leelu's mouth. Mm-hmm.
Henry looks at you all and says, "You're more than welcome to come with us, as I said, but you don't have to if you don't want to."
Well, see, that's the thing, Hank. You need our help. We need to go home. That's how this works. We figured it out a while ago.
His mouth compresses when you say the word Hank.
I figure.
Mm-hmm.
How does he feel about me being in a royal tent holding on to a baby lamb? Sheep.
And a Leelui.
And a Leelui.
Mm-hmm.
He's more concerned by the Leelui than the lamb.
Mm.
He's like, so, just so you're aware, however, your young lady will need to probably stay at the back with the archers.
Why?
I would hate to have on my hands the death of a young lady.
I bet she could probably take your best person.
I bet you've got at least 100 or so women already out there that you don't know about.
Milady, it is not my need or role to question that. However, I still would request that you stay in the back, please.
Request all you want.
He smiles at that.
And she smiles at him.
And he says, "My future bride, it has similar spunk. I look forward to continuing this discussion." He then looks back over at Alex and says, Are you all willing to come with me?
Who is your wife to be?
He says Elizabeth.
Oh, Queen Elizabeth the First. This is the War of the Roses. And he turns to Lincoln. They are supposed to win. We can help them.
These guys?
Yeah.
Hank? All right. Yeah, man, we'll help you. Why not? You're supposed to win this fight, I guess. Hey, listen. He's seen the future.
Oh. He's a cleric? Doesn't look like one.
All walks of life, I just shrug.
We are from across the water, the ocean.
You mean from France?
Nah, man. Go the other way.
He says from Iceland, Greenland?
Nah, don't worry about it. You guys, yeah, don't worry about it. We're from that way. He's like I said, cleric, right? That's what you said? He has seen your future. We are here to help make sure that happens so we can go home.
Nice. Shouty Lincoln. He looks at you. He's still quite confused. But he says, he does say, whatever we need to do, and if you need help getting home, we will certainly try and help you. You have my word on that. Or are you from Ireland, I should say?
I wish.
I see. He smiles once again and says, well, whatever. At this point, I can't be choosy about who I accept into the group.
Listen, if you accept us, you have to accept us for who we are, Hank, okay? And not question when you see some weird things.
I will do my best, but keep in mind there are clerical people about who may not take well to weird things, he says. But certainly we will keep that in mind. I thank you for your assistance, regardless. If there's anything else I can do, if there's any financial things we need to pay, please be sure to let me know. We will certainly offer those who stay by our side during this difficult period financial recompense.
I mean, sure, if you want to pay me, sure.
He says, well, I have the French money, so no problem.
Yeah.
He laughs at that and just kind of, he smiles. He says, yes, their king would like to see Richard kicked off the throne as well, so they are giving us enough money to be able to achieve this. So I have been able to pay for the mercenaries that accompanied me over the ocean, over the water. And he says, now I have to appeal to my own people and try and convince them to join me. That will be the harder nut to crack, I'm afraid. And
didn't some of your people just join you now?
A small amount did, yes. But I mean, the likelihood is we'll be facing what amounts to about 8,000 enemy soldiers. And currently we have the best part of 2,000. I'd like to even those odds at least a little bit between now and then.
Alex looks around to Lincoln and to CJ and then to Leelui and says, yeah, they're going to need about 5,000 more troops to make it even.
Lincoln nods.
Henry smiles and laughs and says, I like your confidence. You guys definitely are worth having around.
Do you happen to know where they are? Their army?
Not exactly our... All we know is that they've started to move from London, but our plan is to hit them in another month.
Right.
While we gather forces, shall we say.
And they are on the move south? West?
Well, okay, so to give you an idea of geography, this is...
No, I'm
DM
asking
speaking.
the king. This is legit
Okay.
Lincoln
Well,
asking the king.
he looks at you and he says, well, they're in London, which is to the east of us. But we suspect that we will be... What we want to do is we want to get them away from castles and protection. So we're going to head towards Shrewsbury and there meet up with some of my relatives and hopefully gather more army, which means we can fight at our own terms.
Right. So they haven't left London yet, is what you're saying.
I mean, I don't know. The king may be already on the move for all I know. Our plan is to be there before the end of August.
John, can I go run and literally sprint circles around London to see if the army has been moving?
Do you know where London is, sir?
He said it was to the east.
Kinda, yes.
And I know England is an island, so there's only so much area for me to cover.
Fair enough. Okay, you'd be doing this for the rest of the day, though.
That's fine.
Okay, I mean,
I'm
this
committed.
is like, even in a vehicle, driving from where you're at to where that is, it's about a 4 to 5 hour drive.
That ain't nothing.
No, I get that. On your run, it'd be like 10 minutes sort of thing, but what I'm saying is that you don't exactly know where London is. You only have sort of a rough idea.
Yep.
Okay. So roll your quick.
Oh, okay. Oy.
Wow. Okay, this takes you a while.
That's fine. You said it was going to take me the better part of the day anyway.
Yeah, well, it definitely took you around a day to figure out where London is.
That's cool.
As you get to London, you'll find that the army is getting ready, and they are preparing to march, but it still seems kind of small at this point compared to what you expected.
Okay. All right. Recon done.
Okay.
Yeah, my idea won't work until after they're already gone from London, so.
I see. Okay.
Okay, you can continue the rest of the day that I'm gone.
Okay. So Lincoln left. I assume he waited to run away until after he was out of sight and didn't just blurt off in an instant. But regardless, he is now gone. Henry looks at you all and says, as I said, we'll be leaving in the morning. If there's anything you need before then, please do not hesitate to talk to Roderick. Otherwise, you may go back to your tents and have your afternoon meal. And we'll be doing some training, obviously, as we always do at this time of day, before the march. So you're more than welcome to practice with the knights. And he says, no further questions unless you have any.
No.
No. Okay. And he says, until we meet again. And he turns away from you back to the bishop, who's been sitting quietly, and starts chatting amiably with him about the weather and the trip across the channel. I assume at this point you all leave?
I do.
Okay.
What's going on?
Well, Leelui, you can either go back and get another meal and rest in the tent, or you can go and check out the knights, which is what I'm going to go do. I'm going to go practice with the knights a bit.
Practice what?
Fighting.
Can I come?
I would guess so. Probably not going to go well, but sure.
Okie dokie.
I'm gonna go watch him fight, and I'm just going to sit and munch on something and watch him fight. That's
Nice.
what I'm doing.
Okay. So they bring you various food and different things, and now they actually have fruit and vegetables as well. The knights are assembling. They have a few of them have taken off the heavier armed covering and are just down to chainmail, and they have wooden swords and things like that. And they are practicing thrusts and slashes and all of that kind of thing. And if you would like to join them, Alex, they nod at an empty stall near them.
So he's going to look at the stall and kind of shrug. And he's going to say, I think it's you guys that need the practice more than me. He's going to reach into a pocket and take out one of the Egyptian gold coins. He's going to say, if one of you can hit me, I'll give you this.
And one of the larger knights walks up and says, for a gold coin, as long as it's legitimate.
Oh, it is. I'll kind of toss it to him.
He catches it, looks at it, bites it, and nods, pleased, and says, and then tosses it back to you. Says, "Whenever you're ready, my lord."
He holds out his hands like Trinity in the Matrix and does the like come here gesture.
I'm going to make a note that I laugh audibly every time he fails.
And the knight looks at you and says, "Will you not take a weapon, my lord?"
I'm just gonna smile. No, that's fine. I'm not trying to hit you.
He smiles back and says, "Well, I guess we'll find out, won't we?" And he takes a swipe at you with the sword.
All right.
Roll away.
All right. I'm gonna slow time so that I can just move out of the way.
You do. And to him, it looks like you've moved super fast.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a little bit surprised. And the other knights kind of give a little bit of a but they continue on with their battle. He then goes, "Oh, you're very quick, sir. I shall have to consider this better." And he then does a feint, and then he comes back at you again.
All right. This time I'm going to stop time completely and move around him. So that I'm behind him and then kind of like tap on his back, his armor.
Okay.
Ding, ding, ding.
You do that, and he is completely befuddled at that. And he's like, "What devilry is this?" And the rest of the knights, seeing what is going on now, put down their swords. You can see they're kind of now looking at you guys.
I just shake my head. Why are you making a scene?
I'm gonna look back at CJ and be like, I mean, I don't want them to be surprised when we do stuff like this out on the battlefield.
It won't matter if they kill us first or they stone you first. I mean, I'm just saying.
I'm gonna look at Leelui and say, Leelui, are you gonna behave for 3 days on the road?
She's standing there swinging her arms, looks at him, turns to one of the other people standing there watching. "That's my grandpa!"
Oh boy.
He just
The
looks back at
soldier
CJ and shakes his head and it's like, they need to know.
The soldier looks over at Leelui and squints, and you can see him squinting at her, and he goes, "Your grandfather?
Well, not yet.
How old are you, miss?"
I don't know. He's my potential future grandpa. She just grins.
The gentleman looks at you confused and kind of does this thing where they sort of like, they go, I can't accept this, so thus I'm going to ignore it, and just turns away. And,
Well, Jacob, if you want me to stop saying stupid things, you need to stop putting images in my head. I know they're all nice and hunky. Stop it.
and again, you're getting weird stares. And the other guy, okay, so Alex, I would like you to roll a clever roll, please.
5.
You feel the wooden sword come sweeping towards you.
Okay. So this time I'm going to try and grab the hilt as it comes at me and use stitch in time to age it into dust.
Okay, this doesn't sound like a good idea, but okay, sure.
None of this sounds like a good idea.
No, it doesn't. Okay, so you catch his sword. You age it into dust. Describe to me how that looks.
Exactly what it sounds.
Yeah, it's just the sword starts to like turn super old and then it just like
Yeah, I thought so. Okay.
rots away into dust.
We're gonna die.
The gentleman looks at you and says, "Are you some sort of wizard?"
No, he's my grandpa.
We're gonna die.
Later.
No, the king said I was a cleric.
I've met a lot of clerics, sir. I've never met one that can do that.
Then you haven't met very good clerics.
Yeah. I mean,
usually to me they're just fat and old and annoying, and talking in some other language, mostly.
Frauds! All of them!
yeah, I mean, we can all do kind of special things. I wanted you guys to know, in case, it happens on the battlefield, you're not super freaked out by it. And
Well, sir, we'll see what happens when you take on a metal weapon as opposed to that wood. But as I am now disarmed, I will give you the victory.
he's going to kind of wave his hand and say, keep the coin. It wasn't really a fair fight. I more just wanted to show you guys what we can do so you'll have confidence in us and not be afraid when we do some maybe odd things to your enemies.
Do you throw the coin back to him? Because he threw it back to you first.
Yeah.
Okay. He grabs it out of the air, he looks at it, and he nods. And you can see he's still looking at you very side-eyed as he walks away. And, yeah. The rest kind of mumble and walk away as well. And things just sort of finish all of a sudden.
Jeez, Jacob, that's not even anatomically possible. Stop it.
Alex is going to roll his eyes and he's going to walk over and sit down next to CJ. Say, I'm pretty sure that Leelui's going to make some kind of like purple rhinoceroses appear out of the air or some point, and I didn't think it was a good idea for it to be a complete surprise.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Save it for the battle, honey.
I just lay back and say, you're handling this one.
You're in charge, Grandpa. Okay, so unless there's anything else, we will move on to Lincoln's arrival back home.
Yay.
Hearing nothing. Several hours later, a very hungry Lincoln appears. Probably chewing on an apple he's found in an orchard somewhere. It's now late in the evening, and most of the camp is asleep other than some guards.
Did I happen to catch like a rough estimate? You said it wasn't as big as I thought it should have been.
It looks like it's about
military.
It looks about the same as the military here at the moment.
Okay.
So like maybe 1,000, 1,200, something like that.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna walk back into the tent, and I'll let everybody know, like Alex and CJ and them. They're just starting to leave London now. And it doesn't look like they have too many people. About the same. So maybe they have the same idea of picking more people up on the way. Yeah.
We should smash them before they get more people.
Alex points at Leelui. That's exactly what I was going to say. We're starting to think alike.
Well, see, that's the hard thing, though, is because if we smashed them now, they'd still be in London. My idea was, once they're far enough away from London, I could go in and steal all their food supplies. How are you going to feed a starving army? They're going to get weak. They're going to turn tail, go home.
True.
Or eat each other.
Either way. But I need them to get far enough away from London, so, you know what I mean? But yeah, there's only like 1,200 or so of them-ish.
1,200? We should be able to handle that, no problem.
Well, you know.
We took on more Nurgle than that.
It depends on how much we want to flaunt our abilities, I suppose.
Oh, they took care of that, don't worry.
I didn't do anything.
Actually, for once, she's right.
Yeah. No.
Grandpa.
Well, no.
It was
You turn
Grandpa.
the fish. You turn that fish into a gummy fish.
That doesn't count.
That does count, Leelui.
No, it doesn't.
Strike one.
Now
Grandpa used his powers to win a fight.
He did.
Well, yeah, that's true. I did.
Listen, if we're going to use our powers to help these guys win this war, are you going to make sure that the history books don't say anything about it? Because I don't want to go to future time jail.
I probably could, yeah.
Okay. Alright.
I mean, I doubt we'll have enough of an impact to be recorded in history. They'll probably want to forget us as soon as we leave.
Nah.
If I remember correctly, the Tudors were good about altering records, so it won't really...
Oh yeah, make themselves look good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pompous.
All right. So
I start yelling for Roddy.
it's like the middle of the night at this
I
point.
don't care. I start yelling for Roddy.
Eventually, Roderick shows up. He looks at you and says, "Sir, is there something you need? We have to be up early."
Yeah, I need something to eat. I just got back. I'm starving. Literally, I'm starving. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Anything.
And he goes off for 10, 15 minutes, comes back and brings you basically a bunch of vegetables and some fruit, and sets down what looks to be a shank of beef of some sort.
My man.
And he says, "There you go." And says, "I'm going back to bed, sir."
All right.
And he wanders away.
So I start eating the meat while I feed a carrot to Bob.
Okay. All right. And so with that, we'll come back and find out what happens to these intrepid explorers next time as they go on the march to Bosworth.
The long walk.
This will never be royal.
All right. So with that, Rob, where can we find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Confessor_X and on Twitch at twitch.tv/ConfessorX.
And Devin.
You guys can find me on Twitter at DMP_Pookie and on Twitch at PooKilledMe.
And Tamara.
You can find me on all those funny little internet places at Dance in the Abyss.
And Webby.
And you guys can follow me on Twitter at JaxForestWalker, and on Twitch at twitch.tv/DMWebby.
And you can find me at BlinsteadDM on Twitch and Twitter. You can find everything we do at distractionsmedia.com, and you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Fate of Heroes. Until next time, everyone, take care. Bye.
This has been a Distractions Media production. For more information, you can check out everything we do at distractionsmedia.com.